Hi, this is Dr. Valerie. In this video, I'm going to share with you why successful, accomplished women, perhaps like you, don't feel happy and fulfilled. And I was in that boat not so long ago myself. And I wrote a book about that experience. And I'm going to share with you why I wrote this book, how this book came to be. Right here on the back cover, that's what it says. Despite checking off the boxes of worldly accomplishments, most high-achieving women are secretly dissatisfied. They feel stuck in lives that look perfect on the outside, yet on the inside, they're unfulfilled, plagued by the nagging feeling, there's gotta be more. They feel guilty and ungrateful for feeling trapped in lives that are so good. They disown their pain or numb it with excessive work, eating, drinking, shopping, social media, or exercising. They search for solutions in books, meditation, yoga, therapy, medication, and workshops, but something is still missing. They wonder, what's wrong with me? Does this sound familiar? If you haven't yet picked up my book at drvalerie.com, you can download the first chapter for free and see if it resonates with you. What's wrong with me? That is the question that I've been trying to answer my entire life ever since I became aware of myself as a little girl, until I realized that achievement could help me get away from that question. So I started doing really well in school. I earned 2 graduate degrees in psychology. I was really enjoying serving my clients in my private practice, and I had a family and home I adored. But something deep inside of me was dormant. Something deep inside of me wasn't content and satisfied. But I didn't know it was there because I was working so hard to keep it out of my awareness. Until one day, I was on the phone with a client and I noticed that I was only smiling with one side of my face. The left side of my face went weak and numb, and the left side of my body quickly followed. So I finished the call, no rush, and I got out and drove myself to the hospital using my right arm. And there they scanned me up and down, wheeled me around on a stretcher, covered me with blankets, gave me water, and as I relaxed, I began to feel better. Actually, I realized in that moment that for the first time as a mother and a professional, I was having me time completely guilt-free. I was being taken care of. I had no phone calls to answer, no one to take care of. And as I laid there, I received great news that it wasn't a stroke, it was just stress. So I looked at the clock and I realized that I could still make my evening client appointments. So I quickly changed out of the hospital gown, drove to the office, and saw my clients as if nothing had ever happened. So this just stress diagnosis puzzled me because I didn't feel stressed. But this episode did tear a hole in the security blanket of busyness, achievement that I have created over the years. And through that tear, through that hole, a very disturbing realization began to seep in. That I have checked off all the boxes that society told me I needed to feel happy and fulfilled. And I didn't feel happy and fulfilled. I didn't feel unhappy either. In fact, I didn't feel much of anything, not even stress. I was a dead woman walking. And so I began to wonder, how come my clients were healing from anxiety, depression, and numbness and stepping into the fullness of their lives? What was I doing for them that I wasn't doing for me? And the answer was, with all of my clients, I used mind-body trauma healing tools, even if they didn't recall any traumatic experiences. And the reason I was doing that was because they were all showing this telltale symptom of trauma: disconnection from parts of themselves, from parts of their emotions, from parts of their brilliance, from parts of their body, from parts of their desire, their vision, their mission, who they truly, authentically are in the world. Are you feeling this? And that's when the left side of my body went numb. That's when I began to realize the extent of that disconnection in myself. My body was sending me a message that I needed to reclaim parts of myself and become whole again. And so I began to wonder, what kind of trauma could we all have without realizing it? And at that time, exciting discoveries were coming out, showing that trauma was genetically transmitted. And that was my light bulb moment. For millennia, women have been oppressed. Oppression is traumatic. Trauma is genetically transmitted. I termed my discovery of this collective inherited trauma Patriarchy Stress Disorder, or PSD. And that is how this book came to be. I'm going to illustrate how PSD is created and passed down so that you can understand along with me how this works in your system, because it works in very similar ways in all our systems. Researchers introduced the smell of cherry blossoms to mice while simultaneously zapping their feet with mild electric shocks. The mice were then bred, and their children and grandchildren, when exposed to the smell of cherry blossoms, showed a strong fear and anxiety reaction. Let that sink in. The researchers saw that these traumatic experiences have been genetically transmitted. So what is PSD? PSD is women fearing the smell of cherry blossoms. What are cherry blossoms? For us, is everything that we desire and everything that has historically been forbidden and dangerous and punishable for women, shining brightly, expressing ourselves unapologetically, being in touch with our desires and going after them, loving who we love, being wealthy, being visible, being powerful. These are all cherry blossoms that women have been taught to fear through oppression that has spanned countless generations. Women who reached for cherry blossoms were burned at the stake, drowned, locked up in asylums. And our inheritance of this trauma came with survival instructions. Be seen but not heard. Don't be too smart. Or, as my mother used to warn me, no one would want to marry you. Don't be too sexy or you'll be raped. Don't be too powerful or you'll suffer and die. Now, of course, consciously, we don't believe any of that. We don't go around thinking I'm gonna die. And thankfully, the world is a very different place. These survival instructions, however, are alive and well in our subconscious. And neuroscientists discovered that our decisions are actually made in our subconscious. Pause. Our actions are decided in our subconscious. The conscious mind catches up later to rationalize them. What that means for us, high achieving, mission driven, purpose living beings in this day and age who identify as women. We still live under patriarchy. That trauma still gets triggered. Our subconscious still signals it's unsafe, it's unsafe, it's unsafe. And it reacts to protect us and keep us safe in two ways. By going into freeze or fight or flight. Freeze means anything and everything will stop us from moving forward. It can be procrastination, self-sabotage, inner critic, the imposter syndrome, has many names. But the truth is, these are protective mechanisms that originate in trauma. It's not you holding yourself back. Or you may be playing big in the world. And what happens then is your nervous system is in constant hypervigilance, signaling that you are not safe. And you may be having trouble sleeping or relaxing without a glass of wine or a pill. You may be experiencing anxiety. You may be experiencing trouble with intimacy and fully being in your body and feeling pleasure and feeling peace and feeling joy and feeling happiness. You may be feeling tired instead, or maybe numb, as I felt in my pre-ER, happy, have it all, successful days. So, my sister, on this journey, I'm so glad that our paths have crossed, because on this channel, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how to recognize and heal from PSD. In the meanwhile, please let me know in the comments, how does PSD show up in your life? Does it hold you back from moving towards your dreams and desires? Does it keep you from even knowing your dreams and desires? Because, well, there's a reason for that. There's nothing more dangerous to the patriarchal status quo than a woman who is in touch with her desires. So these are well protected as well by our trauma defenses that we've inherited. Or are you playing big and achieving, and you just want to feel more peace? You want to achieve your dreams and create your reality and work on the mission and on purpose that you feel called to do in the world, in your pleasure, in your joy, while thriving and not surviving. So, how does PSD affect you? And what do you desire? And what do you desire? Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. If you haven't yet picked up the book, you can start easy by going to drvalerie.com and downloading the free first chapter and see if you want to keep on reading, and if so, the link to purchase the book in a Kindle or paperback edition is right there at drvalerie.com as well. And right there on that page, do not overlook a very important button. Scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and there is a button to join the waitlist. What that button does is it lets me know that when we open a guided journey where we'll be calling all women on a mission who are no longer available to settle for survival in their lives and their work in the world, and we'll be guiding them through a virtual journey together and a live experience coming up as well. You will be notified when we open doors. So if this resonates with you, if you are a woman who have heard the calling of her mission, press the button, get on the wait list, and we'll be in touch. Until then, yours in How Good Can It Get? This was Dr. Valerie. Thank you for watching.